Okay, buddy, do you tolerate fairy lizard? Fine, that tastes like berries. All right. No fuss.
maybe you'll find people on the internet. Is it Thursday? Main game. Starting off at the top of the board, Anthony Stolar is not traveling with the Toronto Maple Leafs to Florida. They haven't confirmed if it's a concussion, but it's a concussion, so Stolar is not likely to play games 3 or 4. The good news team, Wall looks pretty good in relief. So, yeah, it's going to be Joseph Wall for games 3 and 4 in Florida. At least at this point, it looks like both definitely for game 3, we'll see for game 4, but yeah, probably. It looks like Joel Quenneville is going to be the next coach for the Anaheim Ducks. The announcement is expected today. What's been said is that Anaheim did a lot of background research into Quenneville and everything that's happened, and they're comfortable hiring him and bringing him as the head coach. For people who disagree with this decision, there's nothing that should be said to make people agree with the decision. And for the Anaheim Ducks, from their perspective, both are having playoffs next season and will play role for next coach. I just like how often coaches will recycle the general anyways, but yeah, Quenneville is going to be the next head coach for Anaheim, and we'll see if that helps them once they recheck over next season gets rolling. Tom Fitzgerald, so his team's doing their interviews and everything. General manager of the Jersey Devils saying that changes are on the way. Team wasn't good enough. Sounds like he talked a lot about depth scoring that it just didn't show up when they needed it. The one thing that I would say is New Jersey's defense is half their defense was injured during that first round series, and they were also without Jack Hughes. So I don't think there's going to be major changes. But both Fitzgerald and Jones said that we both good enough things there. So we'll see what they do last summer. Of course, they revamped the blue line and goaltending. So it sounds like maybe the depth forward is going to change out this year, but with so many players that are under contract in New Jersey, it will be interesting to see what they in fact do. Nico Ranson set himself a record. He became, well, he joined 2 other players as having back-to-back hat-tricks in the playoffs. He is the 3rd overall. The first was in 1944, that was Doug Bentley. No, I do not remember that series. Gary Curry in 1985 was the second. I do remember Gary Curry, he had a 85, and it was pretty darn near unstoppable. So, at the very least, Ranson has done something fantastic here. There's some optimism in social media folks saying that Ranson has a chance to become the first NHL player to ever reach consecutive hat-tricks in the playoffs in their next game. I'm not thinking that's going to happen, but Ranson has been absolutely ridiculous with Dallas for the last couple of weeks here, so maybe we'll see him score some more goals against Winnipeg. So we have 2 games tonight in the National Hockey League, one starting at 7 Eastern, one 2.5 hours later. We use the actual puck drop as opposed to 2 hours and 50 minutes later. But the first game is Carolina and Washington. Carolina stole the first game. Now, why did I say stole the first game? Because A, won in Washington with, I mean, that's taking color in Washington to become a victory. So Washington's going to have to be a lot better. Carolina should just keep playing the way they have been. Clearly, it's a winning formula so far. The Edmonton Oilers are looking to go up 2-0 on Vegas. Vegas is looking to tie the series up. Edmonton won that first game, and so at 9:50 Eastern, 6:50 Pacific, we'll see the touchdown drops between the Oilers and Vegas. And yeah, this should be highly entertaining. This second round so far has been very, very entertaining. I think what's helping them do is when road teams are winning, it does add that air of unpredictability. The funny thing is, the one team that's won at home Toronto, and that's the one that almost always was taken in the next series against Florida. So unpredictability actually makes the more entertaining playoffs. 4 games last night in the AHL. There were no games tonight in American Hockey League. Providence defeated Charlotte 3-2 to stay alive in that series. Charlotte still leads that series 2-1. Milwaukee, they survived elimination last night as well. They beat Rockford 6-2. So that series is now 2-1 in favor of Rockford. And the Colorado Eagles, right here, 3-1 winners over San Jose. So Barracuda are out. Colorado moves on to the next round. Abbotsford's a game away from maybe moving on to the next round. They won 3-1 last night against Coachella Valley. Abbotsford scored on their first shot in that game as well. So those have started into it. Abbotsford leading that series 2-1. By the way, sent me updates during the game, and I watched the scores, but like, I can't really go to the Abbotsford game. Can you imagine if I was like, yeah, sorry guys, not watching the playoffs tonight, going to an Abbotsford NHL game? Yeah, it's just, it wouldn't make much sense for me for the channel and all that, but it's too bad because Abbotsford sounds like really, really fun, exciting games, and they're winning. So that's kind of nice. In a time where it's not organization and winning, that's been an argument, at least a point of argument this season. But Abbotsford's been pretty good. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Budweiser presents another real excuse from a bud who bailed on hockey. I'm already in my bathroom, said Brian, buds make time for hockey, not excuses. Submitted by Colin T.
I can't play Oh, shucks, you lucky. Get cheap, snatchy. Snatching hands, my base story hurt from the push. That's video of you. Stronger leg muscles.
That's why I do the treadmill. That's why.
He's lift those little small weights that show for your arms. That's big, heavy ones. Small ones. Oh, play some like that. Fortnite, yeah, Fortnite, yeah. What's up, Fortnite? Right now. What?
Take charge of your house. Pick up the ones Dr. recommended multivitamin. Up top, center.
Welcome, seekers and lovers of the unknown. Today, we take you to the heart of South Africa, where history and legends collide. From the whispering to shadowy figures lurking in the dark, these are the haunted prisons that have been defined with 1. Pretoria Central Prison. Now, the Gosi Mampuru Correctional Center. They say, when darkness falls over Pretoria, nothing awaits behind the towering walls of what was once Pretoria Central Prison. This way, now called the Gosi Mampuru Correctional Center, holds all the criminals. It holds the restless spirits of those who died within its cold, merciless cell. During apartheid, this prison was home to the notorious death row, where countless men were led to the gallows and never left. The argument small, sudden icy wind screaming in the steel houses, flames rattling in the silence, and fortune cries echoing long after midnight. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures pacing the empty chamber, or felt invisible hands brushing their shoulders in the dark. Even hardened wardens refuse to enter certain wings alone. Though the prison still operates today, or what truly haunts those halls. After all, when a man dies of the grave, sorrow and injustice burning in his soul, has he never ended? 2. Robben Island Prison. Cape Town. Far off the coast of Cape Town lies Robben Island, a place known for its brutal history and the ghosts it refuses to bury. Once a leper colony, then a military base, and finally a maximum security prison, this island has soaked up centuries of pain, and it shows. During apartheid, it held political prisoners. But those like Nelson Mandela are not the only ones that are still in there. Visitors speak of a true silence that falls over the crumbled cell blocks, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. Footsteps echo against the corridors. Cell doors slam shut on their own, and some tourists who both hearing whispers in languages they don't understand. Guards have seen pale figures staring from the darkened windows, only for those rooms to be completely empty. Some say the spirits from those left to rot here still wander the island, their chains dragging across those floors, eyes searching for justice that never came. Robben Island claims a heritage site by day, but at night it belongs to the dead. Constitution Hill, Johannesburg. At the heart of Johannesburg stands Constitution Hill, a place now tied to justice and democracy, but once soaked in cruelty, suffering, and the cry of the forgotten. Long before it became a symbol of freedom, it was an hellish prison complex where black South Africans were locked up under apartheid's iron rules. The most haunted part, number 4, step inside and the air shifts. Cold, heavy, oppressive, formerly they spoke of unbearable conditions, deep isolation, and now nothing more. Visitors report hearing chains dragging across the floor, slamming of cell doors, and disembodied voices whispering in the darkness. Some have seen flickers of shadowy figures darting through the cell blocks. Others have felt the unmistakable presence of someone breathing down their necks, only to turn and find no one there. Even the museum staff admits they avoid certain rooms after dark. Constitution Hill makes this peace now, but the spirits of those who suffered in silence still walk its corridors, forever trapped in a place that stole their freedom. Frankenstein Correctional Center, formerly Victims vs. Decision, Hull. Nestled in the quiet vineyards of Hull, Frankenstein Correctional Center seems almost too peaceful until the sun goes down. Once known as Victim vs. Prison, this facility is famous for being the place where Nelson Mandela walked free. But freedom isn't what lingers here after dark. For guards speak in hushed tones of strange voices echoing through the halls. Soft, desperate murmurs that faded when approached. Small spots appear without warning, and lights flicker even during winter's clear nights. Some say they have seen a tall, dark figure wandering the yard at dawn, vanishing before they can call out. In one abandoned wing, staff avoid the towers, claiming they hear water running and faint winking, even when no one's inside. It's as if the ghosts of inmates who never tasted freedom still wander the ground, lost between hope and despair. Darkened sky may calm on the surface, but behind those gates, the past is very much alive, and it doesn't forget. Five, Tokai Manor House, Cape Town. Hidden among the quiet trees of Cape Town's Tokai Forest stands an old, elegant building with a dark secret, Tokai Manor House. Built in the 1790s, it was once the heart of high society, filled with laughter, music, and creativity. But one New Year's Eve, joy turned to horror. A wealthy young man, drunk and proud, boasted he could ride his horse straight up the staircase. Did it, but on the way down, horse and rider plunged to their death. Ever since, strange things have haunted the manor. Guests waking up hearing wheels howling across wooden floors in the middle of the night. Doors which open by themselves, and the chilly sound of laughter echoes through it. Some say they see the ghost of the rider, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, standing silently at the top of the staircase, his eyes hollow, and his reliving his final fateful moments. Today, the manor serves other purposes, but after sunset, you are brave enough to walk its halls alone, because once you've heard the phantom gallop, you never forget it. 6. Underwater Prison, Cullinan, Gauteng. On the outskirts of Cullinan lies Underwater Prison, a place shrouded in history and haunted by shadows of war. Originally built to house over 100,000 Italian prisoners during World War II, its vast, desolate grounds still echoes the memories of men who were never truly free. So today, it functions as a high-security prison. The past refuses to sleep. Guards have spoken of hearing foreign voices whispering in the room. Softly howling murmurs carrying through the night. Others recall the sound of boots marching in unison across empty courtyards, and the ghostly soldiers still follow their long-forgotten routine. In one wing, the temperature drops without warning, and lights flicker uncontrollably. Staff have seen the slight figures drift through locked gates and vanish into walls. Some believe these are the souls of POWs, who died far from home. Their grief and longing still anchoring them to this land. God is ultimately known for its history of discipline and reform, but deep within its walls, the silent arm of the dead still lingers, watching, waiting, and walking endlessly through time. 7. Holdsmore Prison, Cape Town. Behind the high walls and Greater Wire, Holdsmore Prison in Cape Town lies more than just South Africa's most dangerous criminals. It hides secrets the living dare not speak of. Once home to Nelson Mandela during his final years in captivity, this massive, overcrowded prison is infamous for gang violence, brutality, and something far more chilling. Inmates and guards alike whisper of a cursed cell deep within the maximum security wings. They say no one stays there for long. Those who do before waking up paralyzed, hearing footsteps circle their bed, and seeing a faceless figure crouching in the corner, watching. Some claim the ghost of a former gang boss, murdered in cold blood during a riot, still prowls the halls at night, his presence marked by the stench of burning tobacco and his sudden, suffocating heat. Lights fail without reason, radios pick up whispers instead of music, and shadows move, even when no one walks nearby. Holdsmore is a place where evil has thrived for decades, and when the lights go out, it's not just the living who rule these corridors. side. Known for housing some of South Africa's most violent offenders, this prison holds a reputation not just for danger, but for the unnatural. Staff whisper about cell 13, a room avoided even by the toughest inmates. They say the temperature inside is always freezing, no matter the season. Prisoners held there report waking up with deep scratches on their backs, hearing low growls in the dark, and voices whispering their deepest fears. Even wardens have refused nights in that room after one officer was found trembling, unable to sleep. His eyes locked on something no one else could see. Some believe the prison was built over ancient burial ground. Others say evil was born inside its walls and never left. And hell is true. Punishment goes beyond bars and chains. Something else watches from the shadows, and once it finds you, it doesn't let go. 9. TV's prison. TV's Valley, Western Cape. It's a remote valley surrounded by the hot and huge mountains, lies Series prison, an isolated facility with a history. Its desolate locations filled with signs trapped both body and soul. The prison has long been a place of suffering, but some say its most disturbing stories lie in the darkness, far from the prying eyes of the outside world. Inmates have spoken of strange happenings in the dead of night, mysterious whispers calling their names from empty cells, doors that slam shut without doors, and the feeling of being watched when no one is there. But the most chilling tales come from the old section of the prison, where shadows flicker and figures are seen walking the halls, but they vanish the moment you look directly at them. Some believe these are the souls of the men who died in the harsh conditions, their spirits forever bound to the prisons. The silence of Series prison is broken only by the sounds of unseen footsteps, a constant reminder that in this forgotten place, the past refuses to die, and the dead are never truly gone.
You know the majority of IT pros underestimate the licks of their Microsoft 365 migration and months on average.
Head, Old Provost, Military Prison, Grahamstown. The historic town of Grahamstown stands on the Provost Military Prison, a place where the echoes of war still linger, long after the soldiers have gone. Both in the 1800s, this prison was once a holy church. For military prisoners, many of them had a faith within its stone walls. It's said that the spirits of those who died here still haunt the dark corners of the prison. Visitors often report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread as they walk through its narrow, cold hallways. The faint sounds of chains dragging on the floor, or the soft shuffle of boots, can be heard when no one is around. In one of the old cells, some claim to see shadowy figures standing in the doorway, their faces twisted in pain and despair. Others have felt an icy chill hit their chest, as if being watched by something invisible, something angry. The old Provost military prison may no longer house the living, but the souls of those trapped in its grim past still linger in the shadows, forever bound to the stone walls that witnessed their final moments. That's it for our truly journey through the haunted prisons of South Africa. Do you dare to visit the dark places? If the medicine could not where it belongs.
This right here is a conversation I got that we have made a video about already. However, the video, speaking only one video, the one video that we made about this guy was made all the way back a year ago, when he was initially taken in the 4th round by the Montreal Canadiens. It is rare to see 4th round guys make as much of a buzz as this guy has, to the point that we're talking about this 4th round prospect a year after he's been drafted. But because yesterday he ended up signing a contract, an amateur tryout contract with the Rocket, it puts him on a very interesting path as a Montreal Canadiens prospect and huge, tough guy. Today, we are talking about Owen Cross, formerly of the Brantford Bulldogs in the OHL, and now currently.
Everyone's always subtracting from your paycheck. Isn't it about time someone added to it? When you lose your paychecks to a Anthony checking account, well, you can $250. Give yourself a bonus, just like that. Come to a return client today.
The potential of our rocket. Cross is a guy whose name you should be familiar with because he's 19 years old, 6'2", 207, left-handed D-man, drafted by the Canadiens, and as we have said, the fourth round of the 2024 draft. 102nd overall. Let's go over to the scoop before we dive into the profile here. It was posted about by the Laval Rocket yesterday that Owen Cross has been signed on to an amateur tryout. And with that, I'm going to assume that Cross is going to be joining the Laval Rocket and participating in practice. Who knows if he'll get a game or two? Who knows if that's even in the cards here? He's not going to get paid. It's an amateur tryout. But Cross is a guy whose profile as a prospect is so interesting to me. The fact that he even got brought into the NHL is quite intriguing because if you look at just the play production, we go over to what Cross did in the OHL with the Brantford Bulldogs, you'll see, he had 32 points in 67 games played, 6 points in 11 playoff games. That's not necessarily, crazy good. He even had 57 penalty minutes in the 67 games. So it's not even like he was a penalty minute per game type of player. He would go some games without taking any penalties. But with all that in mind, you clicked on this video, you had some sort of expectation, you read the title, you saw the thumbnail. I know you want to know some more, so let's go out there and read the Elite Prospects Draft Guide Scouting Report to see what Owen Cross is really about. When Cross steps onto the ice, he holds a monopoly on violence, smart violence. He steadily angles attackers to the outside, lining them for a bone-crushing hit. He eliminates the attacker's option of the cycle and then slams them to the ice. He'll shut down rushes, move the puck, and activate in the offensive zone. If you check out the Elite Prospects Draft Guide PDF, you'll see the elevator pitch for Owen Cross saying this: the most violent player on the ice at any given time. And he'll shut down rushes, move the puck, and activate in the ozone. This is a guy who, in the lines of the Elite Prospects writers, blends the old school and the new school. He can move the puck. He can make some passes. He can even shoot from the point. But this is a guy whose overall level of contribution on the ice is going to be with his bone-crushing hits, with his physicality and his willingness to lay the smack it down on his ops. This is a guy who could be labeled as potentially the next Arbor Jack guy. Now, you could say that Jack guy attained a level of penalty box familiarity that Owen Cross does not have at the moment. And that is true if you go over to the OHL, which see that Jack guy did rack up a significantly higher amount of penalty minutes. But when you think about the fact that these guys both played for the Bulldogs in the OHL, and of course, when Arbor played, he was on the Brantford Bulldogs and was still Hamilton at that time. But to see that connection definitely be prevalent in this discussion here, oh yeah, baby, this is exactly what I think Aspen would want to see. A guy who can bring such a strong physical edge whilst providing that new school, puck-moving, defensive transition.
Oh my God, folks. Oh, yes.
One of the bigger drawbacks of Arbor Jackson is the fact that he's not really the best with the puck, or he doesn't necessarily make the best decisions when it's on the stick. He just kind of moves the play forward. It's all right. He's there. He can shoot too when you give him enough time and space. But aside from the physicality and the presence and the punches and everything else, Arbor Jackson doesn't bring much to the game. Owen Cross, on the other hand, while he might not necessarily have the... So you're sacrificing some of the punches for more offensive opportunities and more breakouts and more head-to-head passes. That, I think, is a very fair trade-off. And when you consider the fact that Cross was a fourth round choice, then it becomes a lot more easier to roll along with. So again, this isn't a top prospect or anything. This is not a first round talent. There's no real level of high expectation from this guy. Parents are incredible.
Well, okay, shit, I'll take that trade. Thank you. Who's coming in around the 7-8 mark? Who's coming around there?
Cinnamon hotels, we don't spend less, even if you get away more. Because more getaways means more memories. So when you're ready to go, wherever you want to go, we're right there with you.
But he's a fourth round player who was signed on an ATO with the team that drafted his farm team a year after getting drafted. That's very impressive. Even if he doesn't end up signing a regular contract with the Laval Rocket or even the Canadiens for next season and beyond, just getting this level of exposure with AHL talent, the physicality and the speed at which AHL caliber players are able to practice at over OHL players, there is value to be had here for Owen Cross as he transitions over from the Bulldogs into the Laval Rocket system. Who knows? Harper Jackal was a free agent pickup out of nowhere. He wasn't even drafted at all. Cross at least has the bragging rights of being a fourth round guy. So obviously, I'm not saying that anything is guaranteed here. Cross at the end of the day is a fourth round talent. It's not like most fourth round guys make the NHL in any capacity. But this progression from being touted as the most violent player on the ice by the folks at Elite Prospects, a bone-crushing, body-checking machine who also has a decent level of offensive puck-moving ability, to have this guy be an AHL participant a year after getting drafted in the fourth round, that's really good. And I think there should be a lot of excitement for a guy who I'm pretty sure Bulldogs fans have labeled as a fan favorite. This guy is very beloved by folks that watch the Bulldogs. And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this guy having that chance to play with Montreal's farm team right now? This guy in the Thornton League Prospect says that his puck skills, like the individual handling that he has in the puck, isn't too great, that he will need to be more explosive with his mobility. But when he has the puck with space and he has that read to make a pass or make a play, that's the he'll excel. He can also blow guys up, come in the other ways with his physicality. Because this is a guy that brings stability. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Owen Cross and his presence with the Laval Rocket. And do you see this guy potentially being a Canadian at some point in the next few years? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it. This Switch Ash rolls 99 and 5.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not trading my Matthew Schaefer pressed on happening.
The my body is a percentage on that is fairly dead to know the breakfast box. But please do it. So next, let us discuss the New York Islanders. Yep, the New York Islanders looks like the team of the playoff. This playlist still halfway down the playlist. They've got knocked out in the first round and second round and so on. The New York Islanders keep missing the playoffs this year, and they've been really a team that people expect to miss the playoffs almost every year. Although they made the playoffs in 23 and 24, in both years they moved in the first round against Carolina. 2022, and the Bulldogs did make the playoffs. This year they're in the playoffs by 9 points. So they parted ways with general manager Lou Lamoriello. The front-runner apparently for the GM job, as this year before leading in the 4-11 stadium, I still think like Ken Holland is the front-runner. And we'll see if he is the general manager for the New York Islanders. We talk about which guys with coaches and happens with general managers as well. The coach of the team at this point is basketball. I don't think that necessarily changes with the new GM, but it can. General managers very often will always bring something in Now, they do have the number one draft pick, the winning draft lottery, and it is highly likely Matthew Schaefer, the defenseman, and the team that picks. I have seen him play with this year's draft on start, and the Dallas one. Schaefer considers to be an excellent fit. In fact, very much in comparison to Drew Doughty. Doughty's had an excellent career, the North Trophy along with a couple of Stanley Cups. And other reports I saw, that he's a weak skater with size, offense, and he has height. So once they get into the video talking about this, the draft prospect, I have a feeling
We'll take him.
we have a hard time finding any drawback with, right? So he's an excellent all-around defenseman, he's got size, he plays that way. Those defensemen don't go on the street, they're very difficult to find, so I think New York Islanders go that direction. I know there are some Island defensemen like CK gets taken there. And there's some that think he should be the number one defense, but I think Schaefer, being an all-around defense, and he can do almost everything. I think those are pretty highly coveted. Those are very difficult to find. The free agency and trading for one will cost you a ton. The line will drop it. Yeah. So looking at the top scorer this year, one sole award. This team has struggled with scoring. Florida, 81 games, 28 goals, 29 assists, 57 points. He just stayed 10 points this year. And there's a little bit of a bounce back from his goal scoring wise from last year. And it's 82 games, 29 goals, 25 assists, 54 points. So he's the captain. Paul Barry, games 24 goals, 24 assists, 48 points. I'm signing for next year, so we'll see what happens there. 75 games, 1 goal, 25 assists, 45 points for Simon Holmstrom. Dawson had a bit of a step back in 17 goals, Golden State the same, 71 games, 10 goals, 29 assists, 39 points. Matthew Bardell then scored half of the season with this week. That is troubling. 30 games, 10 goals, 1 assists, 20 points. If the Islanders are going to bounce back, and especially if their offense is going to bounce back, they're going to need Bardell healthy as playing most of their games next year. The goaltending is still one of the better goaltenders in the NHL, 30.46 record, 907 percentage. Well, long enough to finish most of the year. He finished 3-4-3 with an 18 save percentage. So what that did was, it forced half the ball in place for the most excellent time. Especially down the stretch with trying to stay in the playoffs. Both first numbers less encouraging. 2-6-3 record, 8-7 save percentage. One of the first jobs that he had to take over the schools in that time before the season, right through the goaltending. Satisfied how long he should be healthy for this fall, and they were open for how long again, or to be blown by somebody else. In the goaltending market, where there's not a lot of big games that are available. Now, looking at the numbers, ball point, 27 to the NHL, 27 goals a game. 20 goals against, with 3.13 goals against per game, 3.6 goals in this number. And special teams came this team again. If they had decent special teams, I don't know if it makes up that 9-point difference between them and the playoffs, but it comes close. 31st on the power play, 12.6%. 31st on the penalty kill at 72.2%. That adds up to 84.8% put together. Those are numbers that absolutely sink their chances of making the playoffs. If you look at shots per game, they took 29.5 shots, they allowed 28.7 shots against. This is a team that plays fast games. Islander games used by very few gentlemen, not necessarily a lot of penalties, but still, even with the reality that, Islander games can sometimes have very little special teams, those special teams really hurt them. So they have cap space.
The Ford gets a big deal of matches on.
It's getting active for just $99 a week. However, the drive has to be delivered.
On July 1st, $28.3 million in cap space on July 1st. So we'll be interesting to see what they do with that. They also have an extra first-round draft pick in 2026, but they've not been stockpiling draft picks. This will be a team that you are taking in any kind of a rebuild. And so we'll see what the plan is with a new general manager to try to get them back above the playoff line next year. Or are you planning on, some sort of a little retool here? It'll be interesting to see where they go. Free agents, the UFA list. Paul Mary headlines that. Hudson Fashion is UFA as well. Got himself a couple of goals towards the end of the season. Mike Riley, UFA. Tony D'Angelo, also UFA. And then the restricted free agents. Simplikoff, who had a good rookie season. He is a restricted free agent. I think probably gets a 3 or 4 year deal. If Simple thought was a young prospect, I would say, something like a good deal, but he's going to be, 24, 25, so he's 16. So, yeah, Simple thought probably a 3 or 4 year deal there. Maybe they give him a long-term extension, but play him almost tired as you go more towards long-term and short-term. Holmstrom's going to be a fascinating to watch as a restricted free agent. Gatsall had a strong run that second half of the season, especially towards the end there. Dobson's going to be pricey. Dobson very likely to want 6+ years, probably going to want to go 8 years, and he's probably going to want to get paid as a top defenseman. And then Romano. Romano, I thought had a good year. I never quite understood 100%, although I understand Montreal has a lot of good young defensemen. I thought Romano was worthy to keep it around, but he's had a good run with the Islanders. We'll see how things go this summer and what he ends up getting to cap hit no money. Now, looking at their contract situation, they're not in awful case. They're in pretty good case. Barzal, $9.15 million cap hit until 2028. He just needs to be staying healthy to justify it. I think Barzal's next forward. Horvat, $8.5 million cap hit until 2031. That contract's aging okay. You feel there's a lot of complaints about on the side, money for too much term. A lot said about it, but honestly, at this point in time, with so many players getting $10 million or more in terms of cap hit, and now the salary cap ready to skyrocket, Horvat's cap hit is going to look better and better every year. A-Ball, $3 million cap hit. Bullet at $6.15 million until 2030. That's a bargain as long as he's in the lineup. And Pellick, $5.75 million cap hit until 2029. So those contracts, I think, are bargains for both defensemen, Pellick and Bullock, especially when they're out there together. Excellent defensemen for the New York Islanders. Jerome gets $8.5 million cap hit until 2032. I think he earned it this year. He did have a changing moments here and there, but he played an absolute ton. So when he wasn't necessarily playing great at points down the stretch, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking he's probably overseas. And so you're going to want to make sure that isn't going to happen next year. While you're trying to fix the special teams concern, you're also likely to be looking at getting a backup who's going to be maybe a little more help. Being reliable if love on his shoulders is concerned. And at this point in time in their careers, I think it would make sense to get a younger backup more broken than my own. So, you know, give it 10 all of it. Scoring by Cheery, it didn't really work out for them in the game. Really. 67 to 57, they weren't scored the first, they weren't scored the second, 87 to 78. I was scored in the third, 94 to 82, and I was scored overtime as well, 9 to 5. So, we'll wait to make the limit. But for the New York Islanders, there's no hope. There is. If the team comes in and says, you know what, we can turn this around next playoff next year, I have to go for it pretty much back in 2016-4. So very few times they have to lead up to the second period, and they only lost twice in regulation in that game. So if they score first, then again, they were pretty good this year, but there were a lot of other concerns around the New York Islanders, and we'll see in this year's draft gets that figured out, and the draft pick next year. So if the Islanders decide to do some sort of peaceful here, if the new general manager says, you know what, that's remember what draft pick next year, might be alright in 30, maybe you don't want to get that much better than last season. I do think we're going to see that. It does feel like this might be a tank for this year, for the candidates. Is tangled, but the Islanders will make that decision soon regarding the general manager. The general want them in place well before the draft, where again it's a little over a month away. And so who's going to be sitting at their draft table in UBS, because they're not doing a centralized draft. And this might be the only year they don't do a centralized draft, because that's not a big fan of decentralizing the draft like that. So let me know your thoughts, and like and subscribe, and if you don't, it does so much right. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always, and I'll talk to you again.
Expectation of European style village. 100% of our businesses are enabled and operating for rescues, improvements, delivery designers, and more.
Seven out of 10 cats prefer blue tasteful chicken dining. Try blue tasteful.
And let that peaceful little problem guy out the window.
Season is pretty better than some. For centuries, I've watched you fight to protect humanity. But the silver everything you scarce with a top you can't even eat.
Humans speak fast, but they want. He knows your histories, your relationships. So, I'm scared of what he is capable of.
Look, how did I find out? Easily friends. Don't have much time left. You can choose. And I don't you know.
The thing that lives is very
What kind of minutes are people? One day you'll understand. Every minute is that first habit.
These are cheeseburgers from A&W. Right now, that cheeseburger is $4.99. Not anything. Everything you see here is a hard thing. So then you have to do some sort of ritualistic practice. Nothing at all. Not even close. You guys have.
I mean, if they're wanted, you know, rest of my life in the rain. Think it's melody. Verification different. There was family different. Once we started, there's no going back. Anything can happen. You can't have it happen. And what's worth it anything more? Yeah.
The eldest world's form for the remarks that this is real, and the things that has even sponsored this video about plus plus 2 plus, so thank you very much. As my first original game into reaching this channel is, I've been absolutely obsessed with the remaster since it dropped. Scott and I are both getting to relive our favorite childhood game, while everyone who missed out gets to see it looking as real as we thought it did back in 2006 is a dream come true. I've been traveling around with my horse to see as much beauty as fast as possible, soaking in cereals, fresh foods here nearly 20 years later in 4K at 60 frames per second. Now, if you haven't already got this amazing game, you can click the link in the description to play it on Xbox or PS5, and by using this video, you'll get an excellent handle on everything you need to know as you enter Gabrielle. Yes, there's a whole lot difference between Oblivion and Skyrim, but we've also found there's plenty of uses in the Oblivion remaster that even Oblivion veterans should know about before they make their build. For example, some attributes can affect different damage types, and the skill milestone effects have been significantly reworked. So let's go straight into Cyrodiil on our armored horses and begin this list of the 12 things you need to know before playing one of the best single-player RPG adventures of all time. At the customizations, you get just as crazy as before. If you're feeling wacky, you might make a blueberry pie-faced elf. Certainly can, but you can also make a pretty aesthetic character if you desire. Of course, you'll probably spend a lot of time looking at them in third person and jump around. Oh, I wish you use first person for most of the combat. You can customize your character's face endlessly, but the first thing you need to know when creating your character is the differences between the race courses available and the differences in the race background. From what we've seen with the effect dialogues, the two teams will start with attributes like how male and female youths are now done. For example, you can be a stronghold orc or Scythian orc, or a Nord from Eastern or Western Skyrim, or a High Elf from Oregon or Somerset Isles. Each option has a little bit of flavor text to explain a bit of your backstory. However, instead of guessing as to how it affects your stats, you can just press the Open Stats button and see exactly how your background choice affects your attributes. While we're talking about races, it's a great time to cover how they do have significant differences in
compared to Skyrim, junior such attributes. So in addition to having skill differences which did feed through Skyrim, some races use straight up style with more strength or more agility, and so on. These racial attributes and skill differences are also viewable in character creation using the same physics that Martin just talked about, as are the magic abilities of high elves and dragon share. While you can level all the skills to 100, the ones that start out with bonuses make a big difference to the playthrough as to attributes, and you can feel that difference from the very early stages of the game. For the most enjoyable experience, we still recommend prioritizing the race for role-playing purposes or simply to lack them from a lore perspective. We've got a short more videos on the channel if you are used to Yellowstone. Each race also possesses their own powers and tactics, far more drastic than Skyrim. High elves not only gain 100 more points of magic, but also a 75% resistance to disease and a 25% weakness to fire, frost, and shock. Argonians have full immunity to poison, a 75% resistance to disease, and can breathe underwater. Wood elves are yet the third race with a 75% resistance to disease, and they have the beast tongue power to once a day command a creature to fight them for 60 seconds. However, this is only good for creatures level 5 and under. Dragons possess a hefty 50% magic resistance, and get 60 more points of magic dot and a dragon tree power to use once a day to gain 50% shield, which is basically 50 armor rating for 60 seconds. Now, considering that armor rating is capped at 85 and functions as a percentage of physical damage that your armor absorbs, this is super strong. Dark elves have a 75% resistance to fire and can summon an ancestor guardian ghost once a day to fight for them for 60 seconds. Don't forget that NPCs have these radial acids, so if you fight a dark elf, don't use fire against them. Imperials have 2 once a day powers, also called Breaker powers. Star of the left lets them control 100 points for the 2 girls first, and once a Templar is a ranged power that does 30 points of stars in 30 seconds. Useful for raising his statistics before hazardous adversity, or trying to get someone to tell you something. Physique get the Eye of Night's lesser power, meaning it can be cast multiple times, unlike Breaker power.
Purina 1 True Instincts unlocked first real instincts. From day one, it's high-protein nutrition with real meat #1, supporting our healthy energy and strong muscles, and the life she was born to live.
Purina 1 True Instinct, a difference. And this one costs nothing to use to gain night eye, basically night vision. They also have the Eye of Fear greater power to demoralize a target up to level 25 once a day, making them complete for 30 seconds. Now you should know that in Oblivion, up to level 25 means any level, even beyond 25. Yours having 76 to 12, and gaining the North Frost greater power, you shall points of force damage on target once per day. Even if you're not changed, that's a great thing to do early on. They also have a greater power called Glow, which provides a 30% shield for 60 seconds. Useful for sure, but not as good as the threat of Dragon Skill power. Orcs, very neatly, get a massive 25% resistance to magic, and also have the Berserk power to once a day boost their fatigue by 200 points, their health by 20, their strength by 50, but drain their ability by 100. Great for killing things on a 60-second time frame. Fatigue is the same thing as stamina in Skyrim, by the way. Red guns have 75% resistance to both poison and disease, and have the adrenaline rush power for once a day gain points of agility, endurance, speed, and strength, and boost their health by 25 points per 60 seconds. The second thing you need to know is that Oblivion has you choose a birth sign early on in the story. Unlike standing stones in Skyrim that you can miss game, these now increases armor rating by 15 and gives you 50% magic resistance. This is a great option for most builds, extremely useful from the early stages and in the end game, especially stacking it with magic resistance from other sources or simply using it alongside the field magic granted by some mental powers. On the other side are the warrior side, which grants plus 10 strength and endurance, the thief side, which grants plus 10 to agility, luck, and speed, the speed side, which grants plus 20 to speed, and the lady side, which gives you plus 10 to endurance and willpower. Additionally, there's the mage side to get plus 50 with no side effects, and the apprentice side to get plus 100 magicka, but also a 100% weakness to magic, which is a pretty serious drawback. The Equinox Sun gets a massive 150 extra magic art, as well as 2% spell absorption, which in Oblivion is a chance to absorb the entire spell into your magical tool. However, these benefits are given in exchange for completely receiving your magical regen. It's a very good size for specific build setups, like our Sorcerer build we recently released. The Lava Sign brings a powerful Lava's Kiss, which can be used once a day to paralyze an opponent for 10 seconds, but it costs 120 points of speed. If your speed drops to a 0 because of an effect, like a power, enemy poison, or enemy spell, that's it's all over. It's not something that will happen from jumping or swinging any weapon, though, if you have nothing else lowering your speed. The Ritual Signs uses the Blessed Word Lesser Power to turn undead away for 30 seconds, and to gain a level 25 unit with 6 times half. It's introduced to both
Good for you to check out on the scene. 20 gun. Spearheader first out for unit. Or the second unit.
Once a day, 60 seconds, which is great for stealth skills when later on in skills if you're just able to exchange it, or simply unlock standard ability magic. The Serpent Sign gives you the Serpent Spell greater power for once again down to target health. Total goes 3 points a second for 20 seconds. It also kills poison affecting you and it dispels 90 points on spells, which is an effect that removes magical effects from troubling you. It costs 100 points of fatigue, and is a bit of a limited power, but it can have its moments. Finally, there's the Power Sign, the Power King power, that lets you open an average level 1 automatically once a day, and the Power of Ordinary Power, that also once a day, reflects 5% of all incoming melee damage for 120 seconds. It's not that crazy, though it does let you unlock the reflected damage effect for custom spellmaking. The third thing you need to know is that you have to choose a class or make a custom class towards the end of the tutorial. It'll give you significant boosts to your attributes and skills in combination with the bonuses granted by your birth sign, race, and background choices, and it affects the leveling speed of your skills. Making a custom class could feel pretty necessary back in the original Oblivion due to the way that leveling works. You may have heard Oblivion had complicated leveling, and what people were referring to it took me to distant worlds. It was built to last many of our years. With legendary longevity, trust the new Subaru Crosstrek, the true urban legend. It was some attribute boosts you could select at each level up actually changed in amount based on the skills you increased during that level. This meant that when it came to choosing major skills, people would leave some skills they actually planned on using as minor skills so that they could level them up a lot and get lots of specific attribute points at their level up while also not making their leveling speed for their character too fast. Anyway, that's all scrapped down so you can safely have fun. Sure, some people may choose to avoid leveling certain skills on purpose, but generally speaking, you tend to slot in major skills as things you want to use most and have a good time, because at every level up you always get 12 points to allocate to attributes. More on that later. Classes all have 7 major skills, 2 favored attributes, and a specialization type of either combat, magic, or stealth. Favored attributes get a +5 boost, as do the skills that fall within the specialization types you choose. For example, the magic specialization gives a +5 boost to alchemy, alteration, conjuration, destruction, illusion, mysticism, and restoration. You get the idea. The major skill selection makes 7 skills of your choice, or those part of your chosen class, level much faster and get a significant +20 boost straight out of the sewer gate. Minor skills level at a slower standard rate, however, unlike the original game, all skill leveling will contribute to your character level. That said, because major skills level faster, and you plan on using them the most, probably, you can think of them as the things that will still contribute mostly to your leveling progress. skills in your specialization also level a bit faster. So there's different speeds, with a minor skill outside your specialization leveling the slowest, and a major skill in your specialization leveling the fastest. Classes are somewhat unchanged in the remaster, however, the related attributes we keep talking about are a little different, as are the skill bonuses you unlock at...
Everything changed that day when two young men drowned. But there was another life lost. Her name was Bobby Girl.
Here's trouble. Who's that? Ronnie. Don here.
Hell yeah. Everyone talks about getting Kirby. What happened to Gabby? Can we speak some time about Gabby and the song? Sure.
Hey. Rosie, she's dead.
If anyone knows anything about what happened to my daughter, please tell us. I think there's a connection between what happened to Bronte and Gabby.
I should know.
We need to protect them. This town has a history of overlooking dead girls. You just do that mouth. It's a very big town now with a connection.
The question brought up. Wait. You want to be doing better and something like you decide. Be so clear.
Everyone knows how she died. I'm going to find out. I won't let her be forgotten.
What is happening, guys? Calvary here, and welcome to part 3 of the walkthrough for Ashes of Ariad Knows. So, I didn't go through the items at the end of the last episode, so just a recap. I think we picked up what we got in the following video. I had an upgrade to the threat to upgrade. Quite nice. That was down there on the line.
So first wants to be here, really.
Well, that brings with creates a cloud. You gotta create this. It's very similar to things like Ask Sir.
Like 40 million. Doesn't have no move crossbow. Yes, it does. Per request, first pair and 80 power play unit. Really? Okay.
So, now with those done, we're going to actually continue on to where the game expects you might have gone. That is over to the court itself. So the first thing we're going to do is come this way. Now you'll see we got some of our favorite fly people hanging out up here. Now we've encountered these guys a lot, but I haven't said much about them. They're not that deadly. They do have a bleed, so in a later area we're going to want a torch. We actually find a torch right before that area, conveniently enough. An upgraded torch used to bring fire on people. But anyway, yeah, go over there, get that stripping stone. We're going to round this corner, kill this little bugger real fast. No, you don't. Go suicide for daddy. There you go. We should have another follower here. Let's use this follower saber against him. I really do love the weapon on this thing. So if it's got this, I think it's not waiting flame. I can show you better, but I'll just kill him and then show you it. So anyway, what makes this weapon so fantastic, we got a wind up and then we get heavy attack. But the delay on that can be immense. So just to showcase. Is that better? Versus what is that? We held that for about 2 seconds before dropping it out. Sounds right. So anyway, now we are going to step over. Right to the pop fancy stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go around here and get a study green blossom. So going to get school items. Okay, we're going to take the top now. We're absolutely fine with our green blossoms. So you can go along the top, so there's really no reason to go off there. Drop down there, which the top is just no double ends on the way. So we can see our rich guy right here. We put some of those people. And the enemies in particular are very, very slow. Like it's almost, I would go as far as to say that it's almost not even a threat because of how slow they are. So you can just kind of walk around and slap them. Even if you do aggro roll, by the time they stand up, they're not really an issue. And these are the full these are the massive inhabitants of this area. There's an item up here. It's actually really cool. We're going to get that in a little bit. You don't have to kill them. You want to kill them. That's something to look after this one. Thanks. Having that, we're going to have some right here. Let's try to run into our first 40 and 9. These guys can be quite tricky. There's 2 types